Vision Forward's In Focus team presents.
I'm Cory Ballard, and welcome back to another deep dive. Today we are doing a deep dive into how to access streaming content such as Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon Prime on your Apple TV. We did a deep dive into the actual Apple TV, looking at the accessibility functions that are provided by the Apple TV. Please take a look at that video so you can learn more about what the actual Apple TV is. What we're going to be focusing on this video, though, is how to access some of those popular streaming platforms or services such as Netflix, Amazon Prime, and Hulu, so that we can learn a little bit about how to navigate around those apps, how to access content, and then we're going to take a look at how we can enable audio description. First, let's talk a little bit about what audio description is, so when we dive into that piece, you understand what we're trying to do. Audio description is a service that is provided both on Netflix, on Hulu, Amazon Prime, iTunes content, and most local movie theaters provide audio description. Audio description is narration. A narrator is describing what is going on during those parts of the movie or TV show that are quiet and letting you know what you may be missing. They do it in a really great way in between dialogue, so you're not missing key dialogue between characters. And they do it in a way that, again, supplements what's going on that movie or TV show without being distracting. Now, one quick note about audio description. If you've never utilized audio description before, do me a favor, give it a chance. That first time you try it, you may find that it is a little distracting or a little overwhelming. If you stick with it, though, I guarantee you're going to find that your experience with TV and movies can be so much better with that audio description. If you're watching it with family or friends or loved ones, again, ask them to give it a try. They might be a little distracted and annoyed in the beginning, but you will find that you'll all quickly get used to it, and you'll really find that it makes a big difference when you're enjoying your content. So let's dive into our streaming apps. First, we're going to take a look at Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime is available to those who are Amazon Prime subscribers. So if you pay your monthly fee or your yearly fee for Amazon Prime, you can go ahead and download the Amazon Prime app on your Apple TV. You can log in with your Amazon credentials, username and password, and then you have access to the Amazon Prime library. Now, that can be free content that's included with Amazon Prime, so that can be network television shows or popular movies, but it also can be Amazon Prime original content, Handmaid's Tale, Castle Rock, things like that that may be specific to one streaming service. So first, in order to access Amazon Prime, we're going to go ahead and use our touch-sensitive remote and move over to Prime Video.
Prime Video, recently updated, row 4, column 2.
We'll go ahead and press down on our touchpad to activate it.
Welcome to Prime Video. To navigate this application, use the directional buttons on your remote. Main menu, home 2 of 9. Use left and right to find an item. Press select to choose. Use down to browse lists.
So we got a lot of really good information there. First, though, you may notice that the voice changed. Amazon Prime Video uses its own built-in screen reader when using the app. So voiceover, if you're using voiceover to navigate your Apple TV, you'll find that it is suspended for a moment and Amazon Prime screen reader kicks in. Now, that's okay. We can absolutely move around this app and get to everything we want to. And you also heard that Amazon Prime app did a really good job of giving us some pointers and tips on how to activate and move around the app. And he told us to use our swipe right and left to move around the main tabs, enter on a specific tab that we want to see. So we're going to go ahead and swipe right on our touch remote, and we'll move around our main categories.
Originals 3 of 9. Movies 4 of 9. TV 5 of 9.
And let's say that we want to choose one of these. We actually wanted movies, so I'm going to swipe back to the left to move back to the previous option, which was movies.
Movies 4 of 9.
And we'll go ahead and press down on our touch-sensitive pad to select it.
Movies selected. Use down to browse lists.
Now we are given a number of different strips, and these strips are horizontal, but they are kind of sitting on top of each other in a vertical list. And they're different categories of movies. They can be anything from included with Prime that they recommend to us, or comedies, or children, adventure, originals, all these different categories. So we can swipe down on the touchpad to move through these different categories, and once we find a category that we're interested in, we can then swipe right and left to move through the options within that category. So we'll go ahead and swipe down.
Banner advert. Use down to browse lists or up to return to the menu. Featured. The Aeronauts. Included with Prime age rating PG-13. Watch next. Movies. Bus Stop. Included with Prime age rating ages 13. Included with Prime movies we think you'll like. Bumblebee. Included with Prime age rating PG-13. Captions. On a mission to protect Earth, the battle-scarred and broken Bumblebee is found and repaired by a teenager named Charlie. They must work together to save the planet from the evil Decepticons in this action-packed adventure for the whole family. Use left and right to find an item. Press select to choose. Use up and down to browse lists.
We got a lot of information there, but most of that information was important. First, it told us the category that we landed in, included with Prime, things it thinks we would like. Then it named the movie we landed on, which in this case was Bumblebee. It told us the rating, PG-13, and then it went through the description of what this movie is about, and then followed it up with telling us to swipe right and left to move through other options. Now, we're looking for a specific movie that I think might be a good one. We're looking for a Mission Impossible movie. So we're going to keep swiping right until we land on Mission Impossible, and then it should give us a description about that movie. So we'll swipe right.
Marvel's The Avengers. Included with Prime. Captain America. The First Avenger. Mission Impossible. Fallout. Included with Prime age rating PG-13. Captions. Ethan Hunt. Tom Cruise. Chases to save his team over completing a mission, allowing stolen plutonium to fall into the wrong hands. Now, he must partner with the hard-hitting CIA agent, Henry Cavill, in a race against time to stop a nuclear threat.
Now, it said that it made me chuckle there because in the description it said chauses, and I think it meant chooses. But we landed on the movie title. We learned of what the movie was about, and we want to go ahead and watch this movie. So we're going to go ahead and press down on our touchpad to select it.
Mission Impossible. Fallout. Resume button. Included with Prime. Age rating PG-13. Captions. Ethan Hunt. Tom Cruise. Chases to save his team over complete. Play from beginning button.
Now, we landed on a resume button because we started watching this before, and it said resume and then started reading out the description once again. I went ahead and swiped to the right and landed on the play button so that we could start from the beginning here. So I could resume it, and it will remember where I left off and start back at that point, or I can swipe to the right and go ahead and start it from the beginning. So we'll go ahead and press OK.
Pause button. Use left and right to navigate video controls. Press select to choose.
While the movie is playing, we can now enable our audio description. We're going to swipe down on the remote with one finger to pop up a menu.
Selected Info tab 1 of 3.
And we're in the Info tab. We're going to swipe over to the right to Audio tab.
Subtitle selected tab
There's
2 of 3.
subtitles. Move over to Audio.
Audio selected. Tab.
Good. Now we'll go ahead and swipe down to go into the audio menu.
Sound selected. Full dynamic range. Button.
We'll swipe over to the left.
Language selected. English US button.
And we
1 of
hear
2.
that it says English is selected. Let's swipe down and see if there's English AD.
English US AD button.
There
2
it
of
is.
2.
That tells us there is indeed an audio described AD track. We're going to go ahead and hit OK.
2 of.
The movie is now playing. Let's listen for audio description.
No. He turns to the officiator. It's Solomon Lane.
You should have killed me, Ethan.
A nuclear blast behind Julia rushes toward the couple, and Ethan protectively wraps his arms around her.
As you can hear, the narrator was describing what was going on in the movie that we may not be able to tell because there wasn't audio feedback. Things were going on in the background or there was no dialogue. So that narrator was telling us how a nuclear blast was coming and how the main character, Ethan, was protecting the other character with his body. Which, I'm not a scientist, but I'm thinking your body's probably not going to protect somebody from a nuclear blast. But it is a movie, so what are you going to do? But as you can tell, that audio description is very easy to enable, and once it's enabled, then you can continue watching your content. Now, typically, most providers, including Prime Video, will typically remember your preference. So if you go in and choose English AD or that audio described track once, when you go back and play another video, movie or TV show, if audio description is available, it'll usually pick that by default. But it's not always a guarantee. So if you're in Prime Video and you start a TV show or a movie, if you don't automatically get audio description, it's always a good idea to follow those steps, swiping down on the remote, go into the menu, swipe right until you get to the audio tab, and go in and check and make sure that there isn't audio description. So that's how you can, that is how you can access both TV shows and movies within the Prime Video app, and more importantly, how you can access audio description. Let's go ahead and hit our home button and return back to our main menu of our Apple TV.
Video. Row 4, column 2.
Let's take a look now at accessing content within Hulu and also finding out how we can enable audio description with Hulu. So we'll go ahead and swipe over to the left to Hulu.
Hulu. Row 4,
We'll
column
go ahead
1.
and hit OK.
1 of 7.
Now, Hulu does not use its own screen reader as Prime Video did. We're going to just use voiceover throughout the app here. The app is laid out pretty similar to Prime Video, and you'll find that most apps on the Apple TV use a very similar layout. So we've got main menus going across the top, and we're on home, which is 1 of 7 at this point. We're going to swipe over to the right and we're going to look for browse. Now you'll find that there's a number of different categories across the top. You can feel free to look through those and explore those on your own. You'll find that the gestures that you use are going to be the same no matter which category you pick across the top. So we'll swipe over to the right and look for browse.
My Stuff, tab. Selected, browse, tab.
There we go.
4 of 7.
When we land on the category we want, we'll go ahead and hit our OK button.
Networks, button, 1 of 6.
And then it drops us down into that menu option. And now we are in browse and we have some options here. The first one is networks. Now we're going to swipe down through these options.
TV shows, button, 2 of 6. Movies, button, 3 of 6.
So these are all different categories that we can browse. We're looking for Hulu Originals.
Hulu Originals, button, 4 of 6.
There it is. We'll go ahead and hit our OK or press down on our touch surface.
In progress. Swipe horizontally to explore more collections. The Handmaid's Tale, button, 1 of 50.
We now have a list of all different content within the Hulu Originals. And they are laid out kind of in a grid. I believe it's 4 across left and right. and then you can move down to the next row of options and down and so forth. So we're going to look for Castle Rock, which I believe is down one more row.
Letterkenny, button, 5 of 50.
And then we'll move over to the right.
In a grid, Marvel's Runaways, button, Castle Rock, button, 7 of 50.
And there's Castle
In a
Rock.
grid.
We're going to go ahead and hit OK on Castle Rock.
In a grid, watch latest season. Season 2, Episode 1, Let the River Run, 1 hour, button.
And
Misery has arrived. Lizzie Kaplan plays a young Annie Wilkes from Stephen King's Misery.
the first option we land on is telling us we can watch the latest episode, which happens to be Season 2, Episode 1, and gave us a little bit of a description what it was. Now, we're not interested in starting at Season 2. We want to go over and start with Season 1, or at least see how many seasons there are. So we're going to go ahead and swipe down.
Swipe horizontally to explore more collections. Season 2, Episode 1, Let the River Run. Misery has arrived. Lizzie Kaplan plays a young Annie Wilkes from Stephen King's Misery. 1 hours. Air date, 10/23/2019. TVMA. Hulu Original Series. Button, 1 of 10. Click and hold to add to my episodes.
Now we're in our list of all the episodes within Season 2, but again, we want to look at Season 1. Or if we were looking for Season 3 or 4 or so on, the process would be the same. We're going to go ahead and swipe to the left over to the list of seasons.
Selected. Season 2, button, 10 episodes available, 2 of 2.
And we hear
Click to see
Season
episodes,
2.
or click menu button to get back to collections.
And we hear that Season 2 is currently selected, and it also said 2 of 2, so I know there are no more seasons. Season 2 is the latest. So we'll go ahead and swipe up to Season 1.
Season 1, button, 10 episodes available, 1 of 2. Click to see episodes, or click menu button to get back to collections.
We'll go ahead and hit our OK or press down on our touchpad to select Season 1.
Selected. Click to see episodes, or click menu button to get back to collections.
And then we'll swipe back to the right to land in our list of episodes for this season.
Season 1, Episode 1, Severance. An anonymous phone call lures Death Row attorney Henry Deaver back to his hometown of Castle Rock, Maine. 54 minutes. Air date, 7/25/2018. TVMA. Hulu Original Series. Button, 1 of 10. Click and hold to add to my episodes.
Now we could swipe down and move through other episodes within the season. Swipe down to Episode 2, swipe down to Episode 3. So we could pick which episode specifically we want to watch. We want Episode 1, so we're going to go ahead and press on our OK or touch surface.
In progress. In progress.
The following is intended only for mature audiences. Viewer discretion advised.
And
Media
it starts
controls.
playing back right away.
Media controls. 0. Elapsed. 54:33 remaining.
It does start playing back right away, and I paused it. And once I paused it, it told me how much time was left and what the total time was. Hulu, like Prime TV, Prime Video, will remember your place. So if you left mid-episode and came back in, it would automatically start playing it back. Now, Hulu does remember your selection for audio description, or which track you wanted. Now, I've selected audio description already for this episode in the past, so when I start playing it back again, we should automatically get audio description. Let's find out. We'll hit play.
Playing.
Red text appears. 1991. In a snow-covered forest, a truck with
Media controls. Media controls. 0:12 elapsed. 54:21 remaining.
As you heard, the narrator again started that audio description, and one of the cool parts, and this is a really good example of why audio description is super important, is that I would have had no idea that there was red text on the screen that said 1991. That may or may not be important to the show, but without audio description, I would have never known that that was up there. So that is a prime example of where audio description can be super important. If you start playing back a Hulu show, TV show, or movie, and audio description is not playing, you may enable audio description in the same exact way we did it with Prime Video. We'll go ahead and swipe down on the touchpad or on the touch surface.
Selected. Info. Tab. 1 of 3.
It brings up the same menu as we saw in Prime Video. We'll swipe over to the right for audio.
Subtitles, tab 2 of audio selected, tab 3 of 3.
Swipe down to go into the audio tab.
Sound selected, full dynamic range, button
Over
1 of
to
2.
the left for our languages.
Language, English, button 1 of 2.
And we see English is not selected. If we come down,
Selected, English AD, button 2 of 2.
there's that English AD, and it says it is selected, which we know it is because we just heard it playing that audio described. If it did not say selected, if the first option, English, said selected, then you'd want to go ahead and press your OK or press down on your touch pad in order to enable that language track to give you that audio description. We'll go ahead and hit our home button and go completely out of Hulu, back to our main Apple TV menu.
Media controls. Hulu, row 4, column 1.
And let's take a look at one more provider today. Let's take a look at Netflix. When we dive into Netflix, you are going to see that the layout is pretty similar. It's a little bit different with Netflix, but we'll go take a peek at how you can access content with Netflix.
Settings, row 3, column music, row 2, column 1. Netflix, YouTube, Netflix, row 2, column 2.
There's Netflix. We'll go ahead and hit OK.
Selected, home, 206. 98% match, 2019, TVN 3 seasons, duty, family, power. A young woman rises to rule an empire amid the challenges of the modern age. Named Best Drama at the Golden Globes, this acclaimed series netted Emmy Awards for stars Claire Foy and John Lithgow.
Now, Netflix show is a little bit different in the way that they do their app. We're going to go ahead now and swipe down and go through our categories here within our home option.
Available now, 1 of 1. Play, button.
We'll swipe down.
Top picks for Vision Forward, Designated Survivor, 2 of 74.
So we could look at top picks, come down.
New releases, The Crown, 1 of 72.
We'll keep coming down.
TV comedies, That 70s Show, 1 of 75. Continue watching for Vision Forward, Spider-Man, Into the Spider-Verse, 1 of 1.
Once you land on a option that you want, you can then use your right and left swipes in order to move through all of the options within that category. Now, we landed on continue watching and Spider-Man, and it said it was 1 of 1, so there is no other options within this menu strip. If there was, I would then use my right swipe gesture in order to take a look at the other options. But we wanted Spider-Man, so we're going to go ahead and hit OK.
Play, button, 1 of 3.
And we're on our
Kids,
play
2 of 2,
button.
73% match, 2018, PG, 1 hour, 56 minutes. After being bitten by a radioactive spider, Brooklyn teen Miles Morales gets a crash course in web slinging from his alternate dimension counterparts. Cast, Sinead Moore, Jake Johnson, Haley Steinfeld. Directors, Peter Ramsey, Rodney Rothman, Bob Percy-Kennedy. Action and adventure, action comedies.
We can hear that VoiceOver is giving us access to all the visual content on the screen, including the description of the movie, the actors, the director, when it came out. It also told us that we landed on the play button, so we can go ahead and access the play button.
Hiding media.
Over black, a word appears. Sony. A glint of light edges the letter O. The capital letters draw near, giving way to a bright light in a cloudy sky. In a logo, a woman stands on a tiered pedestal. Wearing a Roman toga, she holds a torch aloft. Its brilliant light shimmers against a silver word.
We can hear that Netflix starts to play back the content with audio description going automatically for us. Again, because I have accessed audio described content in the past with Netflix, it's smart enough to say, oh, okay, you chose audio described on this movie before. From now on, anytime audio description is available, we'll go ahead and play that audio description automatically for you. If I needed to turn on audio description for the first time because I have not yet done it, the process is exactly the same as we just saw with Prime Video and Hulu. Swipe down on that touch surface once the video is playing or paused. That same menu will pop up. We swipe over to the right to audio, down into that audio menu, over to the left to languages, and pick the one that says AD or audio description. And that will go ahead and enable that audio description track for you. The Apple TV makes accessing the different apps Prime TV, Netflix, and Hulu. Very easy to do. It's usually a pretty consistent menu structure, so it doesn't take too much time to sit and try to kind of figure out the way the app is laid out. The other really cool thing, again, is knowing that in order to enable that audio description, it's the exact same method through all of the apps. One of the things we didn't show was the audio described content that's also provided within the iTunes Store. The iTunes Store does typically force you to pay for or rent something, and so we don't have that available right now, but that process of enabling the audio description is the same. If you are a Apple TV Plus subscriber, you can access that content, some of the TV shows that are offered within Apple TV Plus, and again, accessing that audio description is going to be the same thing. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you go back and check out our deep dive into the Apple TV itself and also the Amazon Fire Stick. Make sure that you keep an eye on this channel, subscribe, and go ahead and click that notification bell so you can be alerted when our next episodes come out. We will be doing a similar video showing how to access the different content, Netflix, Hulu, Prime Video, on the Amazon Fire TV Stick. So if that's the device you have, that video's coming up. If you're interested on any of the technology we showed today or any of our past videos, please feel free to contact us. There's 3 different ways. Give us a call at 414-615-0103. Shoot us an email, infocus@vision-forward.org, or visit us online, vision-forward.org. Thanks for joining us, and stay tuned.